Hey everybody, welcome back to Grain Markets and Other Stuff. Thank you for joining me. It is Thursday, March 11th. It's about midday here. I figured I would do a very quick run through of the Kansas City wheat chart. I think we have approached a critical point in terms of the technical side of the market. I wanted to run through essentially two different versions of the same chart with you to give you some perspective. Remember, if you guys need some help from me, as always, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan here in the upper right hand corner. If you would like to know when, how, and specifically I'm pricing corn, soybeans, and wheat throughout the year, it's broken down by crop year, by percentage. I include all that stuff in my email every single morning that goes out at 6:30 a.m. Central. There's a text message service that goes along with that. Any consulting that you might need. You don't need a trading account. There are no other additional fees. This is a monthly subscription billed to your credit card through PayPal, and you can cancel it at absolutely any time. And remember, guys, if you like these videos, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out in regard to YouTube, their algorithms, the way that stuff works. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure you leave me a review. Always appreciated. So let's pull up my first version of the chart here. This is the July Kansas City wheat chart. And the study that I have on the chart here, this green and red channel type deal, this is a regression channel. And that sounds complicated. It sounds like something that is a little bit more complicated than what I would typically use, but it's not. The middle line that kind of is where the red meets the green here is essentially the average point of the trend. And I started this trend. It's very important where you start. I started it with the August low. That's kind of when the grain complex as a whole bottomed, and that's when this uptrend began. So I started it with the August low. And then you can kind of adjust these outer lines. This is one standard deviation on each side. And I'm not going to get into the mathematics of what a standard deviation is, but essentially it kind of identifies the average point of the trend, and then it identifies in this instance like kind of what the extreme portions of either side of the trend have been. So, just when you go back to October here, we made this high. This was kind of like the extreme upper end of the trend, and then we set back. We did the same thing here in January. We went kind of toward the extreme upper end of the trend. We then kind of reverted back to the mean. Back here in early December, we got pretty close to the lower end of the channel. And then bounced back and kind of went back to the middle line. And that's kind of been the deal since August. We've been kind of stuck in this regression channel. And as we sit here today, the market has very much drifted toward the bottom end, the extreme bottom end of this regression channel. So I think that this is a critical point in regard to the chart. If we were to go down and trade below the lower end of this regression channel, which has been in place now for several months, that would be a red flag. And that might tell some people, some traders, depending on how they build their charts, that maybe there's more downside ahead. And that is by no means a guarantee or a prediction. That's just what some people might think about the situation. Remember, as I've said about charting before, this stuff is subjective. You can make a chart tell you just about anything. I could put studies on this chart to make it look bullish. I could put studies on this chart to make it look bearish. I could put studies on here to make it look neutral. Statistics can be manipulated, and that's what people do with charts. Now I have another version of this same chart, and this is the exact same chart, July 21 Kansas City wheat. But in this chart, I haven't used a regression channel. I've used what's more just a simple trend channel. I've kind of drawn these lines just to fit what the trend has been, again, since that August low. And today we actually trade below this what I would consider to be an important uptrend line that started with the August low, runs through the December low. We also had kind of a similar deal on the upside. So this has been like a textbook trend channel up until today. We went and kind of traded below this lower channel line. And this is a daily chart. So remember, every bar on this chart represents one day. This is today here, where we're trading below this blue channel line. Some people might look at this and say this is a big time red flag because we have negated at this point in the day what has been a multi-month uptrend. Now we could very well come back and close above this line. Maybe they just want to run some stops down here or whatever. But I think that in either case, this chart or the regression channel chart, I think you've got to make the argument that we're at a critical juncture here. This is could be some sort of key area of support, if you look at the regression channel, or this could be a total red flag if you were to look at the other chart. But in any instance, I think we're at kind of a technical crossroads here. And the reasoning doesn't really matter. I know I talked about the weather and there's some more rains in HRW wheat country in the Southern Plains this week, whatever. I'm trying to talk about this just in terms of technicals. You've always got your technical side and then your fundamental side. The technical chart, the technical piece is the charts essentially, and the fundamental piece is supply and demand, weather, export sales, that sort of stuff. That's your fundamental stuff. But I wanted to show you guys these two charts. I think we're at a critical point here. I'm not making any prediction on which way that the market would go, but I think a lot of people would argue that, given these two charts, given your regression channel chart, which is this first one, and then given this chart with the more basic, just kind of trend channel, we're at a key point here, one way or the other. We'd like to see this area hold if you're a bull, and if you're a bear, you're going to look at this and say, yep, we're going to close below here, or maybe we could, and maybe that opens the door to some further downside, and that's my chance to make some money being short. No trading recommendations here, guys. I'm not advising anything. I'm just telling you we're at a key point here, in my opinion, in regard to this Kansas City wheat market, and I think the next few days should tell us quite a bit. If you guys have some information or have some questions about this, rather, shoot me an email to info@standardgrain.com. I'd love to hear from you. Everybody have a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you a little bit later.